Welcome into a Hall of Fame edition of Locked on Astros. Billy the Kid Wagner was elected today alongside CC Sabathia and Ichiro Suzuki. Who didn't vote for Ichiro? That's not our concern. We're here to talk about Wags. We're here to talk about Snowmageddon. And Jurickson Profar, maybe he's back on the Astros radar. Let's start right now.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chansey.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome into this edition of Locked on Astros. I am your host tonight, Htown Wheelhouse. Eric is not here. He's under the weather. I've got a special guest host with us tonight. I'll introduce him here in a second. But thank you all for tuning in to Locked on Astros with your team every day. The most downloaded Astros podcast on the planet. 13,000 plus subscribers from all over the world. We thank you all for listening. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that comment. Like just anything you can do to get us into the stratosphere more, to break that algorithm. Let's do that today. It's a snowy, crazy weather week here in Houston. I got my friend Chris Moreno from all the way across town here in town of the Juice Box Heroes podcast. Chris, welcome in. Tell everybody where they can find you on X and tell everybody about your podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know that I am not as good looking as Eric, so hopefully I'll be able to fill his pretty big shoes tonight. So you can find me at X. I'm at X. I'm Htown Warrior 738. Like Htown Wheelhouse told us, I am 1/3 of the Juice Box Heroes. You can find us on X, at Juice_Box Heroes, Facebook Juice Box Heroes, and yeah, man. Like I said, we started about this time last year. I mean, so we're about a year strong into this, and we're just trying to build a community. So yeah, man, again, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah. To Chris's credit or chagrin, whichever one you want to look at it, I literally reached out to him 20 minutes ago and I said, hey, is there any way you can co-host with me? Because Eric is not going to be able to. Eric is under the weather today. He's not feeling well. He did get outside and see the snow, and we'll talk about the snow later. But again, thanks, Chris, for joining us. I've been on y'all's show here a couple times. I really enjoy it. Y'all do a great job. But yes, Billy the Kid gets in to the Hall of Fame. This was his last chance to get in by the voters' ballot. Had he missed a chance this year, he would have had to go on to what is the legacy ballot, basically. And I mean, yes, you can still get in with that. And, we have a few guys in there with that, but I think it means more to the players. I don't understand how he missed it by 5 votes, Chris. I'm going to talk about his percentage real quick. And then I want you to tell me why you think it is. Maybe it took him this long, but if you look at the percentage of votes, Ichiro Suzuki with 99.7%, there was one voter who did not vote for him. To me, Ichiro should be a unanimous Hall of Famer. There's only one other that has that designation. That is Mariano Rivera. CC Sabathia got in at 86.8. A lot of people feel like there are some other pitchers that should be in as well. Since he's in, I don't have a problem with Sabathia and Billy Wagner with 82.5%. Now, Andrew Jones, 10-time Gold Glover, one of the most dominant center fielders of his time, isn't there yet. And Carlos Beltran gained some ground. So Beltran still has a couple more years on the ballot before he goes to the legacy vote. And if I was a voter, I would have probably added Jones and Beltran to my ballot. But tell me, why do you think it took so long, Chris, to bring in Billy Wagner to get this vote in?
Man, I'll be honest with you, man. That's a good question. I really thought that last year he was going to be a shoo-in, to be honest with you. I mean, as I'm getting older in age, I'm starting to get at that point where now I'm seeing guys that I've watched their entire career, whether there was the Astros or any other team. And Billy Wagner has been money since he came up. I would have loved to have seen him finish his career, all the way through with the Astros. But again, I was kind of shocked, especially because I want to say last year he was pretty close. I think it was like, what, 73%, 74%? So it was just like
5 votes.
5 votes.
5 votes away. Like I was upset because we actually reacted last year on Locked On Astros, and I was not happy about that. And if you ask Mike Stanton, you ask Roy Oswald, you ask guys that maybe not played with them, but played in his era. I mean, his last season, dude, his last game, he got a save. I mean, he just kept grinding. But it's just shocking to me. Do you think it has something to do with him being in Houston as long, or is that something that only us Houston folks focus on?
I would like to say that it's just something that us Houston folks, kind of think about. But then again, I mean, it has a lot of merit. I mean, because, Wags had the numbers. He had the numbers to go in last year. So like I think I was watching something earlier on MLB Network, and they were comparing all of his stats. And, I think he was like number 5 in like most of those stats. And the only players that were above him were all Hall of Famers. I mean, again, I mean, I get it. You don't want to water down the Hall of Fame with, turn it into the Hall of Very Good.
Right.
But I mean, Wagner has done enough throughout his career that he has solidified himself as being a Hall of Famer. So I'm happy for him. Again, this is a guy I've watched his entire career. So I think it's about time. Should have happened last year. But either way, I'm happy for him.
Well, and I think the biggest hang up with the voters was his lack of innings pitched, 903 innings. But I love Tom Verducci's counter to that. He's like, but every time he went in, he was in a key moment of the game. Like he came in as a closer and he was dominant from beginning to end. And I was looking at X, and Brian Lima of Apollo Houston and of Sports Talk Radio here in town posted a little snippet from an article I want to show everybody. If you don't know this about Billy Wagner, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, left-handed reliever to ever touch a major league mound. And this is also true. He was a sports-loving kid, mostly football and baseball. So when he broke his arm playing football with a neighbor, once again, climbing some monkey bars, he didn't want to miss out on any games or activities with his friends. He had this other arm just hanging there. Why not use it? So this kid growing up broke his arm, his right arm, and learned how to throw with his left arm and became one of the most dominant closers in Major League Baseball history. I mean, this guy literally 30 saves, 39 saves, 39 saves, 35 saves, 44, 21, 38, 40, 34, 27. His last season, 2010, 37 saves. I mean, when you put an exclamation point on a 16-year career as a closer with nearly 40 saves, that right there alone should be like, man, this guy needs to get into the Hall of Fame. And so, Billy Wagner, you deserve it. Congrats, sir.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, for him to, put the numbers that he did, even as late into his career as he did, I mean, then you share the story about him breaking his arm and teaching himself how to throw left-handed. That's insane. I mean, that is, I mean, that's almost kind of like stuff you'd see in the movies, as far as like, those inspirational movies, like it's like, I don't even know, like if I broke my left hand, could I teach myself how to throw a right hand? Probably not. I'd probably just call it a day. That'd be the end of it. So,
heck, I just think about my girls in basketball. Well, I'm like, all right, we're going to practice our left-handed layups. And they always say, Coach, can you do a left-handed layup? And I'm like, that's not important because I'm not playing the game.
It's not about me. Stop making it about me. It's not about me.
It's about you. And the reason why I'm junior high coaching is because I couldn't do a left-handed. No, I digress. But, one of the things too is he is the third Houston Astros player, to go into the Hall of Fame. Who do you think will be the next Astros player? Do you think it's going to be a gap? I mean, if it's not someone like Verlander, who decides to go in as an Astro, and I'm told it's, one day I've said, I'm being told by different people the hall decides, the player decides. I don't know who decides. You may know. I get different stories. But if it's not Verlander, is it automatically Jose Altuve?
I would say so. I don't know exactly, who makes up these baseball writers, but I know certain people get a vote. I don't get a vote. I'm sure you don't get a vote. But I would say if it's not Verlander, then I would say I'm willing to bet the house that it's going to be Altuve. Now, They may make him wait because of everything that went down in 2019 and all that stuff, which, it is what it is, but yeah, so I would put money on Altuve. That would be the next one. Unless it's JV, then I would like to think, and I've had this conversation with a handful of guys, does he go in as a Tiger? Does he go in as an Astro?
Yeah.
I think he should go in as an Astro, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey, real quick, we'll be back. We're gonna talk about our friends at Rocket Mortgage. So let's talk about that, and we'll talk about Snowmageddon 25. Hey there, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Astros, and thank you for stopping by. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money will help you find subscriptions that you forgot you had. You could be paying twice. I use Rocket Money right now, and it has helped me eliminate so many things that I didn't realize I had. And you may say, oh, what if I have a subscription here or there? Well, trust me, boys and girls, the dollars and cents add up, and it does make a lot of sense to go with Rocket Money. They have over 5 million users, and they have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year just by using the app's premium features. So it is well worth it. I mean, you could go spend extra money on things that you don't need, or you can get something like Rocket Money, put a little money into that, and save you a lot of money. So for the best features, for the best service from any app that's going to help you financially, you need to cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster. You can do that with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. All right, we are back. This is a great show. Make sure y'all tune in to Locked On, not just Locked On Astros, but make Locked On MLB your second listen every single day. We're Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call him Sully. He is a baseball encyclopedia, and he loves to talk all things baseball. Now, yes, we are avoiding some people are asking us about the Dodgers. I think as a show, we already addressed that. I think we addressed it in a pretty even keel way. But let's talk about the snow, man. How did things fare at the Moreno household? Did y'all get out there and build snowmen? I tried to build a snowman, and it looked like I was trying to recreate a homeless person. It was really bad. My son walked about 6 or 7 miles in the snow all over the neighborhood with his friends. They stopped by and had some hot cocoa. That was kind of cool. But tell me, what did you and your family do today in the snow?
Well, so the boys woke up and they asked me, Dad, did it snow? And at this point, it was just the freezing rain. So I told them, I was like, listen, guys, going to have to be patient. We'll see what happens. I actually got stuck working today. So I did spend a little bit of time out there. They tried to do a snowman like around 8:30, but I guess they were saying, that the snow was too soft. We went back out there at about 3. Everything started melting. Had a lot better success with the snowman making abilities. He was definitely on the homeless level. He had grass sticking out of him and stuff. So a second career as a snowman builder sculptor is not in the cards. But yeah, the boys had fun. They enjoyed it.
No, that's awesome, man. I mean, I saw pictures coming in. I have seen the pictures. We are doing a contest right now for the Justin Verlander bobblehead. So if all we have to do is get a snow picture with someone writing Locked On Astros in the snow, and they get that. I've seen a couple of them here and there. I'm going to be looking through them over the next couple of days, and we will announce a winner at that time. It would be kind of cool if there was a Houston sporting event that was in the snow that we could watch, like a Buffalo Bills game or something like that. Like, the Texans, snow game. One day we'll get an AFC championship where we go to Kansas City and beat those guys and the refs. And I don't want to talk too much about that. But also, just since we're kind of like throwing out some topics here, I've got a signed ball here from Hayden Wesneski, the newest Houston Astros pitcher. And guys and girls here at Locked On, I will have up. I'm gonna push my day to have it up by Wednesday because I was gonna have it up by Tuesday, but the snow and everything got in the way. But I'm gonna be giving away this autographed baseball from Hayden. I've got a little 15-minute interview I did with him, some stuff he did with some kids at a pitching camp here in Houston. I got to meet him, his brother Cole, my friend Cameron Craig invited me out from St. Thomas University. Hey, if you guys want to go out and see some solid college baseball, St. Thomas University's got a squad. They've got some good pitchers. They've got some good offense, so that should be fun. But the snow came and it went. They were having blizzard conditions in Beaumont. They were having blizzard conditions in Louisiana. And someone was asking, why did Nolan Ryan not go in as an Astro? Well, I think this is where I believe the players do decide. The reason why Nolan Ryan went in with the Rangers is because the way the Astros treated him at the end of his career. And they wouldn't even give him like a $3 million deal or whatever it was he wanted. And he left disgruntled. So that is why, because Nolan played 9 years, like Jam mentions, and the only Rangers 5, he went in as a Ranger. And also he achieved all his record-breaking feats as a Texas Ranger too. So that's why I think Justin Verlander goes in as a Houston Astro.
I like it. Sign me up.
So, and then look, my friend Jason comes in with the curveball. Verlander is going in is going to be a Tiger. See, Jason, why would you come in and harsh the mellow, bro?
I was going to say, way to ruin the vibe, man. Way to ruin it.
It's my guy, Jason.
Flying high, you got to bring us down.
He's my boy. He's my boy. But yeah, I mean, Verlander could go in as an Astro. Cy Young's, no hitters, his only 2 World Series rings to date.
Yeah.
He'll be a Giant. I don't think the Giants win the World Series this year, so he may not win another World Series. You can do the longevity thing in Detroit, but I guess ultimately it really is up to him. So we're going through the offseason, and I know you guys at Juicebox Heroes are scratching your head like, what do we talk about? Well, You know what? Jurickson Profar came back into the picture. And the reason why I think he's coming back into the picture is because Santander signed with the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays finally got a guy. Everybody has seemingly snubbed them. And so, he went up there. And now you have a market where Teoscar Hernandez is gone. You also now have Santander, who's off the boards. Tyler O'Neill is off the boards. And so now your lone guy, your most sought after left fielder is Jurickson Profar. So the Astros have to do some funny math or some moving of key chips in order to get him, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on where they want to be. So I remember reading an article that came out where it compared the Astros' final 2024 payroll compared to where it is today. And they've trimmed about, I want to say about 40 million. So I guess from a fan stand, you're saving 40, let's go get an outfielder. We need one, right. But again, I try not to criticize, what goes on behind closed doors, front office wise, so that way, it makes sense. But like, I know they've been trying to jump through hoops and trying to trade Presley. I feel like they can still get some value for Presley.
Right.
Looking at, some of the other options, Chas McCormick, maybe, like you're putting all your eggs in the basket that his value is he's going to bounce back. Maybe he's going to come into this season healthy.
Right.
I've read what Caratini. I don't know if I'm ready to trade
Well,
Caratini.
let's do this. After this commercial, let's talk about the 3 or 4 players that they could move to get them under that tax threshold. From big upsets to game-winning drives, FanDuel is here as the playoffs have arrived. That's right. The Houston Texans have won their first wild. Okay, that was not going to go over well with the crowd. So let me tell you about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, FanDuel has you covered on all things betting. That's right. Right now, new customers get $5 and you bet $5, you get $300 in bonus bets. If you win your first bet, that's $300 to keep the action going. The Texans didn't keep the action going, but that doesn't mean you can't. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate and has a variety of betting options to keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. So just visit FanDuel.com today and join. Get started with $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins at FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And that, kids, is how you successfully segue away from an old live read. There you go. Podcasting 101. You don't want to bring up the Texans' lone victory if they just got beat by the refs, but I digress. So the names, and you started to mention it, the names that are out there. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to back up a little bit. This is the outfield options they have going into the season right now. Jake Myers. They actually spelled his name wrong. Chas McCormick, Taylor Trammell, Mauricio Dubon. Okay, we obviously know Kyle Tucker is now a Cub and looking pretty over in Chicago. Man, they made him look like a male model. What is up with that? Now, other options on the 40-man roster: Kennedy Corona, Pedro Leon, Cooper Hummel. So that's your outfield. Now, when we're talking about trading or unloading assets, the Astros could possibly unload Presley if you find a trade partner, Caratini, which I don't want to, Mauricio Dubon, where fans aren't really sold on him completely, and then a Jake Myers or a Chas McCormick. So you've got several options here to get under that. If being slightly over the tax threshold at $3 million and then pushing it a little bit more with Profar is okay with you and you're Jim Crane, then you do it. But if you have to get under that second threshold, you've got to trade one or two of these guys, Chris. I mean, does it seem likely right now at this point? We're 2 weeks away.
I don't think so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am all about the Jurickson Profar life. I mean, we here, we the Juice Box Heroes, we are about that Profar life. However, I feel like we are getting ourselves excited to be let down. Mainly because, I mean, they're talking about playing DeZenzo at left field. The only real value you have in any of those, that list of players that you named is Dubon, really, and Caratini. I don't want to trade Caratini. I think he's doing fantastic where he's at, but like if you do go and you sign Profar, now you have a log jam of 18 outfielders that you have. Maybe not 18, maybe that's being a little, but I mean, if it was my roster, I mean, I wouldn't even have Myers as my starting center fielder.
Yeah, I
would give the job to Pedro Leon and see what he's got, because I know what I have in Jake Myers. So, I mean,
I think, Chris, do you think essentially are they the same player ish? Are they the same player in that Pedro Leon's hit tool has never really developed, Jake Meyer's hit tool has shown a flash of brilliance, but that's really it. And you have a guy, could he be a Gold Glove type center fielder? Or are you not really worried about that at this point? I just don't see how the Astros go in. And look, I'm hearing that Cooper Hummel is a guy that is really looking to make waves in spring training. And if there's a guy that can come in and make a surprise move on a major league roster, it's a guy that's motivated to get playing time. And it's a guy that's motivated, that's as athletic as Cooper Hummel is. So we might find somebody rise to the top that we didn't expect to be there. But still, if you have a chance to get a Profar, I mean, I know he had one outlier season, but that one season was what he was supposed to be when he came up, when he was that prospect with the Rangers. Because the Rangers, I think the Rangers traded for him. And then he, like him and Nomar Mazara, I remember those two guys thinking, these dudes are gonna be studs. Like they've got the makeup, they've got the build. They go out there, they've got the swing, and it's like baseball's really hard. That's why there's less than 1,000 major league players on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes players just put it together later. I mean, look at JD Martinez. I mean, you want to talk about having a knot in your stomach, letting that guy go. He signs with Detroit and then becomes an MVP. Jose Bautista, the same. Again, if it's my money, which it's not, I mean, I'm absolutely trying to see what we can do to bring Profar in. And if we, depending on how much money that puts us over this tax level or whatever. I mean, I know I've got $40 million coming off the books next season with Abreu and Montero, right? I mean, so it's just, again, if you ask me, like, it's just very disheartening to see us go into spring training with a Dubon, Taylor Trammell, platoon in either left or right, wherever they're going to put them.
It just doesn't.
Again, it's like, it hurts my heart to see it. I mean,
it does. So look, here's a hot take. Beast Ben says the Astros should put Melton in right field, Leon in center, and Profar in left.
I mean, that could very well be the 2026 Astros. I mean,
I wouldn't be
don't
mad.
think Melton's ready. Yeah,
I don't think Melton's ready either.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we see him in July. So,
yeah, I think he could be a midseason call up. I really think Melton touches the majors. Look, the fact that Cam Smith got a big league invite. Now we see guys that get big league invites 2 years before they even impact the club. But the fact that Cam Smith is being invited now shows you how much, like, okay, this is why they traded for him. Heck, for all intents and purposes, when I was talking to Hayden, one of the questions I asked him in the interview is, do you, like, when you came over here, was there conversation with you? We want you to be a starter. We want you to be a relief pitcher. And he said they weren't really clear. He said, I've heard them say that they want me to be a starter. And I know I have starter stuff, but I'm a versatile pitcher. I can both start and relieve. And I think he just wants the innings. He just wants to be on the bump. I remember one time Joe Record saying, I would rather be a major league reliever than a AAA starter. And so, the Profar thing, yeah, I think it would hurt if you traded a Caratini. I think Caratini's got a lot of value. I think he's got some underrated value.
I agree. No, I absolutely agree.
Because, I mean, we saw him contribute. And look, I'm hoping Yainer Diaz's defensive tool is better. But if it's about the same what it was last year, it's not bad to have somebody else to come behind the dish and take care of some of that defensive part of the plate, a veteran catcher. Now, Cesar Salazar, I think, could maybe get some more playing time. They've got another guy on the 40-man roster, a catcher. I cannot remember his name. I just saw it today.
Is it the younger kid?
Yeah. It's
Palmer,
like
Miguel Palmer or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. There's no, it wasn't him. It was someone else, but it was a name I was not familiar with. And I actually exited out of my roster of my spring training invitees. But look, I think spring training has several storylines. What is Chaz going to do? What is Jake going to do? Are they going to bring in somebody? If they bring in somebody, is it going to be after spring training starts? Because February 19th is your first full squad workout. February 14th, pitchers and catchers report. So, but question, do you think Profar makes this team better if they add him?
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at him to build on what he did last year or maintain or stay somewhere in that neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the production you got for everybody, and Tucker was hurt last year. So Chaz struggled. Granted, he was hurt a lot. I mean, Jake Myers was Jake Myers. And then you had insert veteran outfielder they stuck for a few weeks until they got hurt. Ben Gamel, Jason Hayward. And again, I liked Hayward. I liked Gamel. They contributed. But I would absolutely think that you bring on Profar, you're going to improve this baseball team.
Definitely. Yeah. So, usually we stop at the 32-minute clip, but hey, why don't we go a little bit longer, Chris? Can you hang around for a few more minutes?
I will hang on as long as you'll have me.
Cool, man. Cool. So Emilio says, hey, Mr. Brett, what do you think about the Rangers, the M's and the A's possibly making better moves than us? Well, let me remove the M's from that because I don't know that they've really
haven't done anything.
They haven't done anything. The Rangers are going to be better this year. They're not going to be as bad offensively as they were last year, and their pitching is solid. They did bring back Eovaldi. They did lose Kirby Yates to the Dodgers. Imagine that baseball is so fun now. But the A's are, look, Eric always reminds me that the A's are the A's. I mean, I don't care if they got a little Sacramento symbol on their sleeve or not. They've got Rooker. They've got Mason. They've got some studs. They've got Butler. This Butler kid is I think a phenomenal player. And they've signed some people in the offseason. They signed their biggest free agent deal they've ever signed with Severino. And so the A's are looking to make moves. The A's actually, what do they do for their bats? They pretty much kept their lineup. They didn't get rid of, because I guarantee you there were teams calling about Rooker. There were teams calling about Butler. There were teams probably offering them a lot of stuff for these kids. But what the A's have to realize is, you know what? We are going to have a hard time with being a popular cat in town, so we need to put a competitive team. I think the AL West is the Astros division to lose. I think the Rangers challenge us, and I think surprisingly the A's make it tough on whoever's at the top. The Mariners and the Angels, unless they do something shocking, I just think they're going to be kind of just hanging around this year.
No, I agree. I mean, not all, the A's also added Gio Urshela. I mean, so that's another, granted he's not a megastar. I mean, but he's another good ball player. Yeah. And, people, they disrespect the A's, but the A's, I mean, they pretty much own the Astros the last few times they've come into town. I mean, that they are a sneaky good baseball team.
They are. And, these players are probably motivated because they know, dude, a team that's got nothing to lose, an opponent that's got nothing to lose is a scary opponent.
Absolutely.
So Kuzi comes in. He says, as a new Astros fan, what should I be excited about from the farm system? Hey, we got a farm system question, Chris.
There we go.
This is right in your wheelhouse. No pun intended. But tell us, what are some things we need to look forward to in this farm system for the Astros?
Well, I mean, as of November, I would say there was a couple of small things, but now with the addition of Cam Smith, man, there's a lot of good baseball players down in the farm, and again, they may not be, the most glamorous names. They may not be. I mean, we have a couple of top 100 prospects.
Right.
But, the Astros have a way of just developing these kids that come out of nowhere and they perform. I mean, there's a handful of, names down at Sugarland right now. I can think off the top of my head. Jacob Melton's down there. Pedro Leon's down there. You got AJ Bluebog, Colton Gordon. I think Logan Van Way is up there as well.
Logan Van Way is, dude, I cannot wait for Logan Van Way to make it up here. This kid's a stud. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, and then like I'm not going to break down all of their top 30 prospects, but you have some upper echelon prospects down in double A,
Yes.
down in single A. I mean, so like, they addressed a big need that they, had, and that was to somewhat try to put the Band-Aid on the farm system. So
Right.
going into this season, I think there's a lot to be excited, and go catch a game. I mean, those games at Constellation Field, probably one of the better games that I've been to, that I go to a lot. So absolutely go check them out.
Yeah, exactly. He's someone's saying we just need another starting pitcher. Look, I think we've got starting pitchers in the wings. We've got some guys coming off of injury. And as far as talent, I know y'all need to be listening for the name Ethan Pecco. He's going to be moving up to AAA probably pretty soon. The kid shot up all the way to AA. Might I add, we had him on, and he agreed to come on the day he pitched. And the day he pitched, he almost threw a no-hitter. So, and he's
There
been
you go.
successful
You
ever
got the
since.
mojo.
I'm just saying, Jose Fleury is going to be another one that my guy Corbin mentions. Yes, he was invited to big league camp. Look, when it comes to this farm system, you can't pigeonhole just a couple names. You can look at just about anybody. Bryce Matthews is a guy that you need to pay attention to because they're high on him. Tommy Sacco Jr., who is a highly touted prospect, he is up. What is Shea Whitcomb going to do this year? Is he going to actually make an impact? Because he was kind of, I think, big-eyed when he came into the league, and I think he was put in a tough spot from time to time. But dude, we've got some guys, man. We've got some guys that I think are just absolute dogs, especially on the mound. And Miguel Uola, who his name always is a struggle for me to get out of to say that. But we've got guys, we've got dudes that I think are going to compete. And with our development, I'm sure you would agree with me, Chris. I think the future is bright for the Houston Astros.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, again, there's still a handful of names that just off the top of my head, I haven't been able to just spit out. But I agree. I mean, there's a lot of kids coming up that I think that once they get here, they're going to contribute.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing. And now one of the things that happened this last year, Chris, was there were a lot of minor leaguers that not minor leaguers, but staff that left. So they've got a lot of new faces coming in. And I've kind of heard rumblings that some of it had to do with rushing players to the big leagues. Do you think with this last year, the way they rushed players, do you think they're going to be less prone to do that this year? Or are they going to do that? Because I think some of it was necessity out of needing arms, right? But do you think they're going to be a little bit more shy like they normally are with bringing guys up?
I hope so. I mean, because, to agree with you, it was absolutely out of a necessity for arms. I mean, you went into spring training, know you were down two pitchers. You left spring training being down another two pitchers. And
Right.
then, you look at guys like Blair Henley, Spencer Arrighetti. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The one that we traded to Baltimore, Jake Bloss.
Yeah.
You look at those guys, and it's just like you look at Blair Henley's debut, and it was just, man, you felt for the guy. I mean, because clearly he wasn't ready to face that lineup. And, you look at Spencer Arrighetti. I mean, that guy, he was fed to the Wolves continuously. First three games were Baltimore, the Braves, and then the Rangers. I would like to think that they've kind of learned their lesson from shooting these kids up from AA just to patch, a hole that they have, because that one bad start, I mean, that can be detrimental to your development as well.
No, it could. And I mean, but even you could even say bringing up Arrighetti and his struggle. I mean, that's where you really, I think, run into issues is if you bring a guy up too soon and he doesn't have success, what does that mean? Well, Jackson Holiday kind of experienced that. Jackson Holiday came up and he was terrible. And then he came up late in the season and he was contributing. So, look, being a big leaguer is hard. I mean, Alex Bregman was 0 for 26 in his first 26 at bats. You know, I mean, Hunter Brown. I mean, Hunter Brown's had his first season when he came up. Oh, he's not the next Justin Verlander. And then with this last year, he starts out. See, I told y'all he's not the next Justin. Now, his stats and his percentages and his advanced metrics are being shared all over social media because he's got that future ace mentality or makeup. And when you've got your front end of Valdez and Brown, I would take that against any 1-2 punch in the major leagues.
No, I agree. And Brown's bounce back last season, you know, you mentioned it just a second ago. I mean, they were talking about him being the ace. They were talking about Hunter Brown's, you know, turnaround last year made it to where you could, you know, they were talking about trading Fromber. You know, fans were like, well, we just hand the ball over to Hunter Brown. He's our new ace. Continue to go replenish the farm system by trading Valdez.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it's kind of crazy. You know, you looked at going into 2023, you're talking about Hunter Brown maybe not being that guy that we all thought that he was. And then now looking at it now, it's like this is our ace. You know,
let me tell you, man, he knows he is a champion. He's won a title already in his young career. And we're going to end on this hot take right here from Tiki 52. Ronel Blanco will throw a no-hitter this April. Hey,
I like it.
You got to end the show on a positive note. Look, I really hope that you guys and girls have been safe throughout this Snowmageddon here in Texas, Louisiana, in the South, Southwest, wherever you listen to us. And if it's not snowing where you are, it's okay. You got the sunshine. We got the sunshine. I got my guy Chris Moreno from the Juicebox Heroes. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to their podcast. Check them out. Give them a follow. Give them a thumbs up. And from myself and everybody here at Locked on Astros, y'all have a good one. And we are your team every single day. We're out. Good show, man. Good job.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed it. This was awesome.
Yeah, good deal.